My wife, the CEO, looked me dead in the eye and said, "Go wherever you want, Jonathan. If you ever leave me, you'll come crawling back to apologize." Her voice held the same condescension she used on underperforming employees. I'd heard that tone 1,000 times. This time, something inside me finally snapped. I looked at her in her $3,000 suit, arms crossed like she was closing a hostile takeover, and said 2 words that changed everything. "We'll see." 3 weeks later, I was 800 miles away in Denver. I had started a job that paid twice what I'd been making. That's when my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. The woman on the other end said 5 words that made my blood run cold. "Jonathan, we need to talk about Rachel." My name is Jonathan Pierce. I'm 38. For the last 12 years, I'd been married to Rachel Morgan Pierce, one of the youngest CEOs in Boston's tech scene. She built Nexicor Solutions from an apartment startup into a $200 million company with 300 employees. I was proud of her. I supported every late night, every missed dinner. Every weekend she spent closing deals. But somewhere along the way, Rachel stopped being my wife. She became my boss. Every conversation turned into a performance review. Every disagreement became a negotiation she had to win. When I tried to tell her how I felt, she dismissed me with boardroom phrases, "We're not aligned on this issue," or "I need you to manage your expectations better." The morning everything fell apart started like any other in our marble kitchen. Rachel was dressed for work at 6, scrolling emails while her coffee went cold. I made scrambled eggs and toast, something small I could still do. She didn't criticize, she just ordered. "Jonathan," she said without looking up, "handle the contractor today." The kitchen estimate came in at $85,000. Push back on the marble countertop pricing. "Good morning to you too," I said, setting a plate down. She glanced at my eggs like a disappointing quarterly report. "Is there cheese in these?" "Yes, the way you like them," I answered. "I'm doing a cleanse this month." "No dairy." I mentioned it 3 times last week. She hadn't. But that was part of her world. Rachel lived in a place where everyone was expected to track her ever-changing preferences. I told her I'd make something else. "Don't bother," she said, still glued to her phone. "I'll grab something at the office. Also, your sister called about Thanksgiving. Tell your family my assistant handles our social calendar. They need proper channels." "Rachel, they're not scheduling a board meeting. They just want to know if we're coming for turkey." She finally looked at me, bored. "Jonathan, I run a company. 300 people depend on me. I can't operate efficiently if everyone thinks they can call whenever they want. Structure creates efficiency. I'm your husband, not your employee. And stop acting like one who doesn't understand basic time management principles," she snapped. And left. I stood in our designer kitchen surrounded by appliances we never used, and realized I couldn't remember the last time Rachel had actually looked at me. Not glanced, looked. Like I was a person she cared about. If you're enjoying this story and can relate to feeling invisible in your own relationship, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. I read every one. That evening she came home at 9:30, early for her. I had made chicken marsala with roasted vegetables and kept it warm in the oven. She walked past and closed herself into the home office. I waited 30 minutes, then knocked. "Dinner's ready," said. "I'm on a call with Tokyo. Can you not interrupt me when the door is closed?" She called back. I ate alone. The food tasted like cardboard. Everything tasted like cardboard lately. At midnight, she emerged. "You're still up?" she asked, surprised. "I wanted to see you. We haven't really talked in days. Can we not do this right now?" She sighed the way she sighed when a meeting ran long. "I'm exhausted." "Do what?" I said. "Have a conversation with my wife. A conversation where you listen instead of treating me like another item on your to-do list." She played her trump card. "I'm building something that pays for this house, your car, everything we have. I keep us afloat. You made the money," I said. "So you make the rules." "I never said you were failing, Jonathan." "I just miss you," I replied. "I miss us." "We're fine," she said. "You're being overly emotional." 2 weeks later, it all broke at the company gala. Rachel worked the room like a pro, laughing, shaking hands, making deals. I followed like an accessory. Standing at the bar, I heard her tell an investor that success requires ruthless prioritization and that family and relationships should serve your larger purpose, or they become obstacles. She glanced at me and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Jonathan is very low maintenance. He doesn't require much attention. It's like having a very well-behaved pet." People laughed. I didn't. She wasn't joking. That's how she saw me. I walked out. She called. I hung up. She called again. I turned my phone off. When she came home, I packed a suitcase. "Leaving?" she asked, incredulous. "You compared me to a pet in front of people who respect you," I said. "I'm done. If you walk out, you'll regret it. You'll come crawling back to apologize," she whispered, negotiating even as a threat. "We'll see," I said, and left. That night in a hotel room, I did something I'd been avoiding for months. I opened my laptop and looked at job listings, not in Boston, but everywhere. New York, Chicago, Seattle, Denver. I had a background in financial analysis for tech companies. Rachel had convinced me to quit my job and help build Nexicor. She framed it as honor. It was control. Still, I kept my skills current. Within an hour, I found 3 roles that matched my qualifications. Senior analyst positions paying between $180,000 and $220,000. Not CEO money, but enough to prove I wasn't just Rachel's well-behaved pet. I applied to all 3. The next morning, she called at 6. I almost didn't answer. "Where are you?" she asked. "Hotel." "Does it matter?" "You've made your point. Come home and we'll talk rationally." "There's nothing left to talk about," I said. "I'm done being your afterthought." "I don't mean that," she protested. "Now I do," I said. "I wanted divorce." She begged for time. I didn't give her any. I wanted out. 3 days later, I got a call from Tech Venture Analytics in Denver. They flew me out for an interview. The CEO, Patricia Morrison, spent 2 hours talking about company culture, about work-life balance. "The best analysts have lives outside the office," she told me. "People who go home to families. People who remember that work is what we do, not who we are." It resonated so strongly I wanted to cry. That evening, they offered me $195,000 bonuses, benefits, and relocation. I accepted. When I told Rachel 2 days later, at a coffee shop because I couldn't stomach the house, she looked at me like I'd joined a cult. "Denver?" she said, stirring coffee she didn't drink. "You're moving?" "Yes, this is insane. You're making life-altering decisions over one fight." "I'm being more rational than I have been in years," I said. She softened for a moment. "I know I've been difficult. I can change." "Couples therapy." "Couples therapy won't fix 12 years," I said. "You've had 12 years," she escalated. "You're making the biggest mistake of your life. You'll regret walking away from millions." "No," I said. "I'd rather be honest and free than bought and invisible." She offered a settlement through lawyers. $2.3 million cash. Half our investment portfolio. Buyout for my stake in Nexicor. In exchange, I would sign an NDA. She wanted to protect her reputation. I wanted the truth. I told my lawyer to refuse the hush money. Take what's legally mine. No silence. No pretending. 3 days later, Rachel called me directly, breaking protocol. "What game are you playing?" She demanded. "No game," I said. "I don't want your money, Rachel. You made me," she hissed. "Before me, you were nothing. You gave me things," I said. "There's a difference. You'll regret this," she said. "When you're struggling on your pathetic salary." I took the honest path. The divorce finalized 6 weeks later. I walked away with half the marital assets, about $400,000 after debts. Not millions. Enough to be comfortable and free. Then came the call that confirmed everything. Amanda Fletcher, a woman from Rachel's building, called me. She told me she'd been seeing Rachel for 8 months. Rachel had told her they were separated. Rachel had lied. Amanda offered texts, emails, receipts. She had evidence. She said she didn't want to be a homewrecker. She wanted to tell the truth. Amanda's call staggered me, but it didn't destroy me. If anything, it completed the picture. Rachel had been living a double life while making me feel like I couldn't survive without her. I called my lawyer. This changed things. Massachusetts is no fault. But marital misconduct and the use of marital funds for an affair could affect division of assets. Amanda helped my case. She provided the proof. Rachel tried to settle again, quietly. I refused. I wanted honesty more than hush money. The story leaked, not by me, but because Amanda published her experience in a women's business blog. She didn't name Rachel, but Boston's tech community knew who she meant. The article went viral. Investors pulled out. The board started asking questions. I watched it unfold from 1,000 miles away, feeling nothing but relief. 6 months after the divorce, I was promoted to Director of Financial Strategy at Tech Venture Analytics. Patricia called me into her office. "You exceeded every expectation," she said. "Your work saved a client $2 million. You're exactly the kind of talent we want." The promotion came with a raise to $240,000, a corner office, and a team. More importantly, it came with respect. People saw me. People valued me. I started dating again. Nothing serious at first, just coffee and dinners with people who saw me as a person worth knowing. One evening, on a date with a teacher named Sarah, my phone buzzed. "Unknown number, Jonathan. It's Rachel. I need to talk." I showed Sarah the text and deleted it. I had nothing to say. The version of me that needed Rachel's approval no longer existed. I was someone who didn't tolerate crumbs. 3 months later, I heard Rachel had stepped down as CEO. The company's statement said she wanted new opportunities. Rumors said the board forced her out. More stories about her behavior had surfaced. She called twice more, leaving voicemails that went from demanding to pleading. "I've been in therapy," she said. "I understand now. Can we meet for coffee?" I never called back, not out of spite, because I had nothing left to say. A year after leaving Boston, I sat in my apartment in Cherry Creek and looked out at the mountains. I realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt invisible. People saw me. I had friends who wanted to spend time with me. A job that challenged me without crushing me. A life that felt like mine. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Now, my girlfriend of 6 months. "Dinner at my place tonight. I'm making that pasta you like." I smiled and replied, "Can't wait." That's when I knew I hadn't come crawling back. I had never regretted leaving. The life I'd built without Rachel was better than the one I'd borrowed. When you stop accepting crumbs from someone who sees you as less than you are, you discover you deserve the whole feast. People who value you don't tolerate you. They want to be with you. If this story resonated with you, no, you're not alone. Your worth isn't determined by how someone else treats you. It's determined by how you treat yourself. If this touched you, hit like and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And tell me in the comments if you ever had to choose yourself. Until next time, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away.